But you
can say something is logically cohesive.
No, you could. There's logical proofs. There's mathematical proofs that are based on logical proofs. This is very like this is not contested. Proofs do not. Science comes after logic and comes after philosophy.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's actually science is the proof of science is underpinned by logical proofs.
But proof is something different. When you talk about logics and something is logically cohesive, that's its own thing. It's not proof. It's not proof in the sense of science.
How about this? I'll tell you, a deductive proof is a much more powerful proof than a scientific proof.
A deductive proof.
Yes, of course.
But a deductive,
because yes, absolutely.
That's deductive and inductive logic.
So what I've been giving you,
it's not proofs, it's arguments.
No. That is. Let me tell you why it's a proof. Do you know why? No. Do you know? No, science is a method. Do you know why deductive? You know, science is just a methodology.
It is just a methodology.
Exactly. So.
And that methodology uses the term proof.
Yeah,
right?
but no.
If you speak within logics, you don't use the term proof. You use the term it is logically cohesive.
No. You use logical. Just your introductory books of logic use proofs.
I'm not saying it's not proof. I'm not saying logic is not useless.
No, I know you're not.
Logic can be stronger than proofs.
I don't want to strawman you. I know that.
It can be much stronger than proofs.
No. I think you're using proof and evidence you're conflating the two. First of all, what's called a deductive proof is something where the premises, if true, necessitate its conclusion. No amount of scientific inductive reasoning or inductive proofs can lead to necessary truths. You know that. So that's the point of why I tell you deductive proofs are actually way more powerful in learning things about existence.
I know what you're talking about.
So the proof that I give you,
I think you're using the wrong term.
I'm not using it. I'm telling you why. Because the proof that I gave you is a premises to conclusion, whereby if the premises are true, the conclusion is also necessarily true.
Yeah.
No amount of scientific proofs.
The Socratic method.
Yeah. So no amount of scientific proof. Not necessarily,
but it's not 100%.
It's just rational. It doesn't need to be Socratic. It's just the rational method of going about deductive proofs. No, but listen. The point is what? The point is what? Science.
It is where you say, okay, if this term is true.
Let's not get off topic.
No, I am on topic. If this term is true and this term is true, this must necessarily be true. That's a method. It's not 100% true.
No, it is actually. That's exactly my point. The whole point is that necessary truths arise from deductive reasoning. Inductive gives you provisional truths. That's the point. Why? Because induction has this problem of what's called a circularity. Why? Because to do induction, you must assert or assume the uniformity of nature.
Yeah.
The problem is the uniformity of nature uses and utilizes induction. However, this is Hume's problem of induction.
How are you using induction here?
Induction is when we take things in our particular and generalize things that we observe in the particular, and then we generalize them to the unobservable. Okay. All right. So the problem with that is, if you see 100 flamingos and they're all pink, you could make the inductive argument that all flamingos are pink. And just even the ones that you've not observed. However, it is very possible that you could one day stumble upon a white flamingo. See what I mean? So it's not a necessary truth that those flamingos are pink, because it's inductive. However, when I just been giving you a deductive proof for why you need a necessary existence, this is something that is a necessary truth that is derived from true premises.
But it's a necessary truth because you assume that there has to be a first cause that started.
I'm not assuming for. I'm arguing for.
What if you take the scientific materialistic view? Not that I agree with it necessarily.
Neither do I.
But what if you say that it just sprung out of nothingness? It was actually.
So that's not the scientific view. The scientific view says that everything is sprung out from a singularity.
Yeah.
We don't say that. That something can come from nothing. That is scientifically absurd. And philosophically absurd.
Yeah, right.
So
it came out, but we don't understand that first cause. There's no reason to go into it or understand it further.
No, and so we just step away.
It might have been an infinity going on.
So anything beyond the circularity, even if you want to take an infinity, by the way, if you want, it's irrelevant. Infinity. If you take the aggregate sum, that still requires an explanation, which is not contingent. Why? Because everything that's contingent is in that sum.
Sure.
So what that sum is contingent upon must be, by definition, another type of modal existence.
Sure.
And the only other type is a necessary. Why? Because we've already established impossible existences are not actual existences. Therefore, a necessary existence, something that is what's it called, does not require something outside of itself for its existence, is the only thing that could have brought about the aggregate sum.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sure.
Fair?
Only
So do you understand why it cannot be equal now? It's subservient.
No, see, there you're jumping. Because I can totally agree with, there must have been a first cause that was not contingent. That makes complete sense to me. But why do you necessarily jump in and say, oh, well, then that first cause must be supreme? Because it could exist on its own.
I'll tell you what, you're right there. Let me tell you why. Everything in that set relies
you said that.
upon that. No, but that's not, but you need to you need to zero on it. But is that relation in both ways? Because you keep going back to this both ways thing.
Sure.
Is the reliance a two-way relationship or a one-way relationship?
Well, why not?
No, because why not? Why.
Could you compare it to, say, immateriality, intellectualism, consciousness are equally relying on a material
Do you want to know why not?
It's equally relying on a material reality.
You could answer your own question.
You have to have, if you're going to explore these things, you have to have a brain, you have to have a body. So immateriality has to express itself through materiality. Why?
I'll tell you what, and you could answer it. You could answer it yourself. What's the definition of a contingent thing?
Could you actually say that first cause, to be observed by living beings and entities, to be comprehended and to be expressed, it must have, it's actually reliant on contingent causes.
So we went back to the original topic, which is what?
Become manifest.
Our observation or our realization that this necessary thing exists has no impact on this thing's ontology. That's the point.
Why not?
Okay, so what? Okay, you're gonna answer this question. I'm not gonna say anything. Okay. How does a necessary existence get its existence?
How does necessary existence get its existence?
That's the whole point of the proof.
Yeah. So
wait, just say it. Well, how?
Okay. How does it get its? Okay. So how
through
does
something else or through itself?
How does necessary existence get? What was it?
Does a necessary thing exist through something else or through itself?
Oh, through something else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit of a different question.
No, that's what I've been trying to drive to you when I say reliance, and you keep saying you're repeating it. I'm trying to repeat it so I can get it to break through.
Yeah.
The reason the reason that they're not equals because the reliance relationship is one way. And why? And you said no. Let me tell you. I'll tell you why. No. I'm telling you, you're not noticing because you've already agreed with me.
Let's see. Let's take that thing that's not reliant on anything else. It created a thing that was reliant on it. Cool.
Yeah.
But for that to gain any kind of manifestation, for that to actually appear out of its realm of non-materiality, out from its realm that is separate from our world, it needed that contingent thing to get through, to burst through to this world.
No. Remember, I don't. Without going into any of this, if you just.
So I question, why are you saying that one is subservient to the other?
I'm telling you,
when the other can't be experienced unless it gets that necessary boost.
Good. I'll tell you why. Because experience. If all of humans did not exist to experience or understand or realize that this creator cause, whatever that existed, it would still not impact the fact that it actually does manifest and exist. That's what we use manifest. This thing is not reliant on our observation.
Okay, but just because...
So the reliance relationship is one way.
Okay, just because it's able to exist on its own, why does that make it so powerful?
I'll tell you why.
Especially if power is... Let's say power is manifested in this world and is shown in this world and is created from the universe, right?
I'll tell you
You need materiality to have power. So...
No, you don't.
How can you say...
You can have a causal...
Wait. How can you say that the immaterial thing that doesn't need anything else to exist, how can you say it's more powerful when it's existing on its own, it can't impact the world and it can't do anything to the world?
It can't. It didn't choose to.
It did, okay. But when it chooses to impact the world, it has to impact the world through contingent causes. So what makes that more powerful than the contingent causes?
I told you... because the aggregate sum of contingent things...
you said that. You keep repeating that.
I'm repeating it. Why? Because I'm trying to get it to break through to you because in one sense, you'll agree with me.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just questioning for you here. Why do you assume that everything else that comes out of that thing, why do you think that thing is stronger than the tools
I'll explain. Because the stronger, what does stronger mean? It means, I'm talking about this reliance relationship. Why is it stronger? One existence, the necessary existence, does not rely for its existence on the contingent set. The contingent set, however, relies for its existence on the necessary existence. This reliance relationship shows how one existence has a power to bring about the other, while the other does not have power to bring about the existence, the necessary
I
existence.
disagree with you, yeah. Because
How?
if you look at that thing that exists, right? How is it powerful to exist but being able to do nothing, right? Let's assume let's remove the contingent causes. Let's just have the immaterial
And we told you
first
that's
cause.
completely fine.
How can you say that that thing is powerful when it can't touch the world? It has to use contingent causes.
No, it
has
doesn't.
to
It doesn't
use
have
a
to do
chain
anything.
after it. Well, fair enough. So it doesn't do anything. So it's just
It could exist.
It's just powerful from existing, but being able
No,
to do
it's
nothing.
powerful. What? What's up? What are we? When we're using power, what are we talking
is
about?
power equating
No, no.
to existence that's independent existence?
No.
And I
When
think
we're
that's
saying
wrong.
about power,
Okay.
we're just describing a
But you said
dynamic.
stronger.
No. I'm
You said
explaining.
stronger.
What does
You
that
said
mean?
power.
We're defining it. What does that mean? There is a relationship. We're describing that dynamic.
Sure.
And this dynamic is unequal. Thus, it cannot be that they share the same amount of power.
Well, I don't think you're getting my point.
I am. I'm
Because
fully getting it, but I
Why
think
would you say they are unequal if this force that's immaterial, that's the first cause, it doesn't need anything, it still needs a contingent effect. It needs to create something
Doesn't need
impact.
to.
Well, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Well, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Otherwise, it's just floating there and it's doing nothing.
Yeah, but nothing about that has any issue with what I said, because all I told you is a necessary existence does not need something other than itself. So if nothing else exists, it still exists. What's your point?
I don't think that makes it more powerful. That's what.
No, it's not.
That's,
It makes
I
it
think
no. It's powerful. No. I'm showing you why the necessary existence, the cause of all the things that we're looking in existence at, this cause is not equal in its power because it shares an unequal dynamic.
I'm disagreeing with that. The dynamic is unequal.
Well,
I'm saying
I'll tell you why you can't disagree with it, because you've already agreed to the definitions.
No. I'm saying the dynamic is equal because the immaterial needs the material.
The
right?
dynamic
God
cannot
needs
be
a
equal
world
because you
be
already
able to
agreed to
express
that.
himself through.
Let me tell you, you already agreed to.
If God exists without a world. Okay, sure.
Sorry, but what's your name?
If-
What's your name?
Kim.
Kim?
Yeah.
Ismail. Nice to meet you.
Try and get my point. So
Yes.
if God needs to express himself, he has to create something.
God doesn't need to do anything.
Fair enough. He doesn't need to do anything. But if he doesn't do anything, he's not that
No,
powerful.
God is just independent. No, that's what I mean. Power. He's
just
powerful
passive.
in the sense that just because he didn't create doesn't mean he's not powerful.
Okay.
You can have the power to create and choose not to create. But eventually, he created things that are contingent upon him. Therefore,
wouldn't you
these
say-
things that were created by him cannot be equal to power to him.
But would
Of
you
course
say,
not.
if you look at the Bible, if you take like a
I'm not.
Christian-
I don't need
if-
to look at the
if
Bible.
you
I'm
take-
not a
if-
Christian.
Okay.
I'm a
If you
Muslim.
take- If you take the Christian theology, for example, it's the one I know, and you say that God, he created the world in 7 days, right?
No, but I don't need
Why-
to.
why
Listen,
did
I'm not
why
interested
did
in
he-
Christian theology. Let me tell you why. Because I think that's a bunch of
But maybe
like.
you should be.
No.
Let's just try and go
No,
through
I
it.
study it. I'm telling you, from studying it, I am
finish
not
my
interested
point?
in it. Yeah, go.
Can I finish my point? Okay. So let's take that example. He's creating the world in 7 days. Why did God need to do that? Why did
6
God need
days.
to create a
6
world?
days. 7
sorry.
days.
Okay,
7
whatever.
days he rested.
Yeah,
he was too
okay.
tired.
Yeah, you're right. Whatever.
a Christian
So
Bible.
In the
he
Bible.
created the
Christian
world in
theology for you, entire
6
God.
days. Yeah, he gets that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's a
That
joke.
God is inferior. That's funny. Anyway, so let's assume, right?
According to the
God,
Bible.
he has to create something to be able to work his magic through, right? He can't just, if he's in a void and he's like, I'm an all-powerful being, I could create when I want, but I'm not using it. It's the same as not doing anything. So he's just a passive force. The force only gets real once it gets manifest.
No, because the whole point is your point is not about God himself. Your point is about
sides of one coin,
No,
man.
let me tell. No, that's
Two
what I mean.
sides of
Okay,
one
okay,
coin.
stick to it. Two sides of one coin. What are the two sides you're talking about? All things that are existent contingently, and this creator for the first cause necessary
First cause.
existence. Yeah. You are talking about a relationship between two things. You're not talking about only the necessary existence alone.
Is he Gnostic?
This
And I'm saying that
relationship.
He's
is not unequal. It's equal.
agnostic.
No, okay,
exactly what
that's
I'm saying.
but
That's
you're contradicting yourself because by definition,
How am I
if you-
contradicting
I'll tell you why. Because you already accept that contingent things are reliant in one way on. There's a reliance relationship that is a one-way
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
and the other existence is not reliant.
That's not what I said.
That-
I said they're both reliant on each other.
No, but I've already shown you that can't be the case because by definition in
Why not?
existence, because when we discuss the types of the modalities in existence, there are only two in existence:
Yeah.
necessary existence, which exists through itself,
Yeah.
and a contingent existence. And through the rational proof that I gave you of what's it called? The contingent set needing something outside of it that is also not contingent because everything contingent is in the set. Therefore, it must be that a necessary existence exists, and this is the cause of everything in the set.
I get that.
So. However, if you truly get it, if you do actually get it, then you wouldn't be contradicting yourself and then saying, why does a necessary existence, what's it called, not have a reliant relationship back and forth?
I get your point, but I don't have to agree with it.
No, but so I'm saying if you're gonna not agree with it, I would appreciate if you critiqued it.
You're putting it up as though it's a logical fallacy not to believe in your point, and that is a logical fallacy.
No. So I'm not putting it up as a logical fallacy. I'm saying you have not found a way to contradict the premise.
I have.
No, let me see.
I have, and that is the first cause. You're saying because this cause here is reliant on that, it's subservient. This cause could live without the other cause. Yep. I'm saying no, that's not the case, because if this cause was living without this, there would be nothing.
No,
there would be nothing.
I can't.
There would just be an immateriality.
Okay,
I choose not
is a
to
necessary existence ever impacted with regards to its ontology?
Yeah.
But okay, so then
it is impacted by it has to manifest.
Sorry. Remind me of your name. Kim. If you're saying that about a necessary existence, you fundamentally are contradicting yourself on what you accept a necessary existence to be. A necessary existence, by definition, doesn't need anything outside itself for its existence. Therefore, when you say, if contingent things don't exist, this necessary thing would not exist, you're fundamentally contradicting yourself.
Then I wouldn't call it a necessary existence.
No, but you have to. Why? Because I'll tell you what.
I would call it an existence.
I'm forcing you.
I would call it an existence that is existing.
We're just in the middle of a conversation, man. Yeah.
I would call it an existence as existing outside of the frame of the world.
I'm forcing you in a logical corner. Let me tell you why I'm doing that.
But then it's not really existing.
I am forcing you in a logical corner.
It exists when it starts to manifest itself.
Let me explain. Look. Let me explain why you're trapped right now in a philosophical corner. Because why? If everything contingent is in this aggregate set, it cannot be that this aggregate set is contingent upon another contingent thing, because everything contingent is already in the set. See what I'm saying? Therefore, it needs to be another kind of existence. And the only other kind of existence there is a necessary existence. This rational proof, unless you could contradict it, unless you could show it to be false. No. In where?
I'm not
Show me which premise.
I'm not showing it to be 100% false, because that's impossible. I'm showing there's another option.
No, you can.
I'm showing there's another option, that this reality is just as reliant on the things it creates as the things it creates is reliant on it.
It cannot be, because by definition, if all contingent things exist in this contingent set, it cannot be the case that it's contingent upon another contingent thing.
Why else do you think God would manifest himself, if not for that reason?
I'm sorry?
Why else would God not manifest himself, if not for that reason? If God was fine and could do without the world, why would he bother?
God chose to.
Chose to, just for fun.
No, but why does God need to be dependent on the...
Why does God need to give you a reason?
Why does God need to create
Why
the world?
does God need to give you a reason?
That's what I'm
He doesn't need to. That's the point.
One second. Do
do
you think that God, in order for God to exist, does he need to have any other existence?
Yeah, he needs to create something.
But why is that?
Because
you're making a claim, you need to substantiate.
Otherwise, he's not coming to life. Otherwise, he's not being manifested. Otherwise, he's a force. He's a force outside of the world.
Exactly.
Outside of the world.
That's what we're saying.
Why
can't that be possible?
If you're just a force outside of the world, you literally don't exist.
Based on whose perception?
No,
based on whose perception?
Based on the perception that you're not in the world, you're outside the world.
No, based on your perception.
You're outside of the rules of the world.
Can I?
It's non-existence that's able to.
So you're saying based on your perception, God cannot exist unless and until you perceive him.
No. Until he creates and manifests the world.
But who's going to now, when he creates the world, at a particular point in time, right?
Yeah.
So before that, do you agree that there was no creation?
There was no creation. Yeah, sure.
But God still existed.
Sure, he can exist.
No, but you've already.
That's
the point. You've already contradicted yourself because before you said no.
No. So he can exist independently, but that doesn't make him more powerful.
No, it does.
But you change the goalpost.
No. He can exist outside of him, but if he does, he's
outside
impotent.
of him.
Outside of the world.
Outside of the existence.
If God is outside of existence and he doesn't get into existence, he's impotent and he can't do anything.
No. Just because he decides not to.
He's only potent when he creates.
Can a weightlifter weightlifter, can a weightlifter have power and not exercise his power?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the problem?
But he can, okay, fair enough.
What's the
He
problem?
can have the
Fair
power,
enough, okay.
he can have the potency to do it, but if he never lifts his weight or if he never does it, he never
Does
gets
that
to show
impact
that
his power?
power.
Okay,
So no,
but
affect
us observing this power has no impact on whether this thing has the power to create or not.
You can't prove that you have power unless you exercise.
He doesn't need to prove.
No, but you're saying prove. That means
Proof is different.
From
Yeah,
your
it does.
perception.
No. Yeah, it does.
No, but
Because
let me tell. But
otherwise, you just look at a big guy and you assume he's strong, but maybe he's weak.
oh no, you're making
Maybe he's
no. You're making an inference based on observation.
Sure.
Now what we're doing is we're using rational argumentation, a rational proof to show that you need a necessary existence,
couldn't you
which
say-
has a one-way reliance relationship. The contingent has a reliance relationship on the necessary, and not vice versa. Therefore, it cannot be that they're equal in power because one gets
bodybuilder.
its existence from the other, and not the other way. Yeah, go on.
The bodybuilder is a great example. Let's assume he's really strong. He's got a lot of potent power.
Sure.
Yes. He goes to the weight. He's about to lift it. He's about to exercise his power. What happens? His spine breaks and he falls apart and he can't lift it after all. Did he have power or did he not have power?
Okay, that's not irrelevant.
Okay,
Oh, that's very relevant.
but
that's very relevant.
Kim,
no.
Because that's
I think you are in a bit of a corner here, actually.
No. Okay, show me
Because-
where's the corner.
No, Kim,
The
Kim,
corner
let me
is-
explain what
What if he
happened.
never manages to lift that weight? Can you say that
No,
he
you
had
have
power
gone from
then?
existence to ability. Two different things.
I know.
You have moved the goalpost.
I know, yes.
We
That's
were
why I
talking-
said it's not-
what we are
it's
talking
irrelevant.
about. First, let's discuss the
Well,
existence.
actually,
Wait,
actually,
Kim.
no. Let's talk
We have
about.
to, we
let's
have to
talk about- let's
define
talk
the
about-
existence
let's talk about-
before you understand the
Sure.
ability of this
And
entity.
I am saying because you were equating existence with strength and existence with power and existence with hierarchy.
saying there's a power
What I'm
dynamic.
saying is there's a potential, but unless it's being used, it's never being manifest.
No, but
No,
you,
no, no.
you already
You
agreed
keep
that
using-
before the creation,
Yeah.
God existed.
And that is crucial to my argument.
Good. So
And
if God
that's fine,
existed
we
before
accept
the
that.
creation, then you're agreeing with us.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm agreeing he existent, but I'm saying
But
he's
then you know what he'll say.
impotent,
So
as long
now,
as-
you,
no,
now
no,
we are
as
going to
long-
the second stage,
Yeah,
which is the
But-
ability.
but it has to
So
be-
if God is able to create, would you agree he's a creator?
Sure.
Okay, so so one ability you have agreed with us,
But it's-
creator. Let's go to
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
If God is able to identify someone who's an evildoer versus someone who's a good person, that means he employs his attribute of justice, then he's a just God. Do you agree? He's able to
but-
identify the
We
truth.
don't see that a lot, do we?
Oh, but you will on the day of judgment.
Yeah, that's the point.
On the day of judgment.
Is that where do you see it? Just because you don't see it here,
Because you
doesn't
see,
mean-
if God, trust me, if you really wanted God to judge everyone based on every action they commit, then you wouldn't be able to even live your life, because we sin and disobey God on a daily basis. So the reason God gives you that ability and leeway to carry on with your life, because He's merciful. He says, look, maybe this person, he doesn't obey today, but maybe tomorrow he might change his ways and become truthful. You know, he doesn't oppress anyone. He becomes
You think
obedient.
God acts that way?
Yes.
Because I don't think so.
So you think God is not merciful?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay,
Let's
on what
look
basis?
at children that die from cancer before they're 2.
Okay.
Let's look at...
Okay, how about this? How about this? How about this? Oh, wait,
children
take your
that get
example.
blind,
Take your example.
Their
Take
brains
your
eaten
example.
up by
Take your
worms
one
before
example.
they're 1.
One
Did they
example at a
deserve
time. Kim, one example at a
Is
time.
God
The
being
child
just there?
example. The child
That's
example.
the
Ismail is very
easiest-
eager to answer
It's
that.
the easiest
One second,
atheist argument.
One second.
Yeah.
The
You
one
wanna come
example
in?
at a time, so we don't do
Yeah.
like shotgunning. One example.
No, you were getting
the
into
child.
that. But
I was about to get in it, but
let
Ismail
me
wants to
let me
answer.
get that point to
Just-
you. I've got the point.
I got
I've
the
got the
point.
point. Oh, okay. So we agreed on the bodybuilder, right? Let's assume he's very strong. You see him, he looks
Bring
strong.
it back to the bodybuilder. Stick to
Yeah,
this
no,
argument for evil
that's
stuff.
ability and existence. I'm saying God can exist outside the world, but he's very impotent until he creates the world. You can't see his power and
He's
strength
not okay.
unless
no,
it's manifest.
you change the goalpost.
It is
There's
reliant
nothing. No, it's
on
not
the
impotent.
manifestation.
Okay, so no, I think he's
It's
making
reliant on the
a good point, but
manifestation.
I'll give you a good answer to that. In order to possess an attribute, is it necessary to manifest it?
Yeah, because okay,
You haven't,
because
you
otherwise-
haven't even listened to the question.
Yeah, no.
Okay, what was my question? Let's see if you got it.
I said it is.
Let's see if you got it.
Yeah.
What was my question?
Is it necessary for an
didn't get it.
ability?
You didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Is it necessary for an ability to become manifest to exist? That's what you said.
Is it necessary
It's
for?
necessary for an ability to manifest to exist?
Okay, is it necessary
Yeah.
for someone to possess an attribute?
That's exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the
to
same.
possess an attribute
Possess an attribute.
and not manifest it.
Sure.
Okay, so is it possible?
Is it possible? Well, I would say we can't know until it's manifest.
Okay.
You can say, oh, this person is very intelligent,
Knowledge.
but until the person proves that they are intelligent and manifests it in the moment.
You're moving the goalpost.
No, but you're telling.
Wait. I'm not. That's the only time you can actually see that the person is intelligent.
Could I just adjudicate?
Yeah.
I think you're answering a question he didn't ask.
Exactly.
He asked the
That's why I
question
asked if
again.
you understood it.
So no, it could be in the heat of the conversation you lost track of his question.
once
Ask again. Ask again.
Is it possible for a person to possess an attribute but not manifest it?
Or not show it.
Or not manifest it, and that's why I'm getting into that. No, it actually isn't.
Okay, can somebody be intelligent?
Okay, go on.
It actually is.
Let me give you a scenario. Imagine somebody went to space.
Yeah.
Yes? This person you know very well.
Yeah.
To be kind, to be merciful, everything.
Yeah.
Okay? Now in space, he's alone on the space station. Nobody but himself.
Yeah.
Does he still possess those attributes? Or has he stopped possessing them? He's not manifesting it now.
I think, we can't see the attributes there. So I think
Does
it's
he still have it?
I think it's a fallacy to say that he still has it. We don't know.
Well, why is the fallacy?
They might have been gone.
Sorry?
They might have been gone. He might have been changed. He might have been warped. He might go insane.
But he might
And
not
then,
have.
Then we couldn't
But he
say
might
he's
not have as well.
And actually, I think that's the weakness of assuming those attributes.
No,
and
you're
saying-
assuming
I-
he
no.
forgot those.
No.
You're the one assuming it.
No. I'm actually.
You're all over the place right now.
He's in a tough corner now. He's
actually-
fighting his fitra. I can see it.
You're not listening.
Don't turn your back.
You're not listening.
Okay, go on.
So I'm actually agreeing here. You're trying to get me to say something, and I'm saying,
I'm not.
that's,
I'm asking a
that's the
question.
case.
I don't know if you
I
feel
would say
that,
that we can't say that person is kind necessarily until he shows that kindness.
No, but you knew he was kind. You knew he was kind.
that's an
you knew he
idea I
was
have.
merciful.
That's
but
an
then,
idea.
But
That's an illustration I have of him, but it's not necessarily true.
okay, so now you know that he was kind and merciful.
Yeah.
But now because you cannot perceive him anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that
could
it
have
is
changed.
possible he's changed.
Okay, one second.
Let me ask
So
you
if
this.
you got a
So when
brain
you sleep,
scan-
wait. When you sleep, you might be kind, generous, merciful. When you sleep, are you still
unkind,
Are you still
ungenerous,
showing those
unmerciful?
attributes?
Potentially, yeah. Because everyone.
What are you
because-
doing when you're sleeping? Go on, tell us how you're kind when you're sleeping.
Because those attributes are very, very
Yes, please.
reductive. They are assuming that you can boil a person down to a couple of attributes, and then he's permanently that. That's a big fallacy. I
No,
think.
I'm saying when you're sleeping, you're not showing those attributes.
Yeah.
You're not manifesting them.
Sure.
But are you
So
still?
you're not kind necessarily.
You see, that is
not
a
at that
fallacy.
moment.
That's the fact. We'll
Why-
let the people judge
why,
this.
Why would you? Why would
Because
you
when
say?
you go to
why
sleep
would you
and you
say
stop
this?
being
Why would you
merciful.
say this sleeping person is kind? That's something. That's reputation.
No.
That's
You
reputation.
know,
that's
you know the
something we have
fallacy.
decided
You know the
on.
fallacy you have fallen into.
What?
You think that a person's attributes needs to be shown 24/7.
Yeah.
Do you do any of your attributes 24/7?
Otherwise, you can't say that you have. And I think it's a bit of a fallacy to say that a person is necessarily kind. He's always
No, but
kind.
do you profess
All
your
of us-
attributes
all of us-
24/7? Any of them?
All of us have all the attributes 24/7. All of us have the capacity
Do
to
they,
be
do
evil.
they manifest them?
All of them have the potential to be
Exactly.
good.
Now you're
close your
answering.
eyelids.
When we manage them, when we manifest them, then they become true.
When you close
But
your
that's exact-
eyelids,
so that's
do
what
you
you're
lose
saying.
do you lose the ability to see when you close your eyelids?
Yeah, for a moment.
No, but not entirely, right?
Yeah.
So you could still see. You could still have the ability
still
to see.
open your eyes
You still
and
have
see.
the attribute of seeing, right? Even
yeah.
when you close your eyes.
Yeah,
So you
sure.
don't need to manifest sight to have the ability to
Exactly.
see.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So
Okay,
now you
that's
agree
it.
with us.
Agree with us. Now, this whole 30 minutes.
Success. Kim,
Finally.
look, like I said, the principle still remains. In order to possess an attribute, you don't need to manifest it. Accept it and live with it. Then you'll be at peace.
No, I think I disagree.
You just
still fighting- you're still fighting yourself.
I told you you've been
You're still fighting
contradicting
the
yourself
fitra.
for the last 30, 40 minutes.
I am thinking about it here a little bit, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
good, you
if
should
That's a good
reflect upon
sign.
it.
That's a good
if you
sign.
close
You
your
know-
eyes,
Unbelievable.
if you close your eyes,
Yeah.
you're not seeing at the moment. You don't have the ability to see at that moment. But once you open them, you have the ability to see again.
No, you're manifesting sight when you open them. You have the ability always.
I think it's a very naive position to assume that you have latent abilities and they are permanent, because they're not. They can change. They can change at any moment.
So insofar,
Any second, you can go from being a kind person to be a cruel person.
can.
Kim.
Any person.
can.
So you don't have that
Kim,
latent
but the
ability.
mechanism
so you would
changes.
agree. You don't
No,
have
you
that
change the
latent ability.
goalpost again. You know why?
No, why?
Because now
No.
you're saying the ability you possess can
Yeah.
be taken away from you. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think the point I made, which you still haven't grasped,
Same
is
with the
that
weightlifter.
in order to have those attributes in the first place, yes, you need to have the attribute to manifest it. For example, you need to be a loving person to show love. Yes? If you are always an evil person with no room for love at all, then you cannot manifest love. Am I right?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's.
Kim,
I
Kim,
think
you
it's
know
just-
what, Kim,
wait,
Kim,
I
one
think-
second.
If you don't have the
I
attribute,
think-
how can you manifest?
Let me answer.
Just one second.
Let me
Let me
answer.
say.
Wait. So I think you can't just say he's a loving person and only a loving person can manifest love. It's too simplistic.
That wasn't
It's
my
also-
question.
It's also too
That wasn't
simplistic.
my question.
You said
My
that.
question is, if you did not
said-
have
you
the
said
attribute of
also-
love.
You said also, if you're evil, you can't manifest
Kim,
love. If you're an evil
you're not
person,
listening. That's why.
it's not.
Shall I
you-
repeat
you
the
don't-
question
you
because
don't
you
have
missed
the
it
ability.
again?
You don't
If
have
you
the
don't
ability.
have the attribute of love, can you love?
If you don't have the attribute
Don't
of love,
possess at all.
everyone has the attribute
No,
of
don't
love.
tell me what everyone has. I
Everyone
gave you a
else-
condition.
everyone
If
has
you
it.
don't have the attribute of love, can
Everyone
you love?
has the potential for love.
No, that wasn't my question.
Yeah.
My question,
but
if you don't have
it. But I think that's a fallacy in the
No,
first
it's not a
place.
fallacy.
You can't
It's
say
not a
that you
fallacy.
don't
I
have.
gave you a
You
condition.
can't say
It's a
that
thought
you don't-
experiment. If somebody-
you can't, wait. You can't say that you don't have the ability to love. That's impossible.
friend, I'm not
Why
talking
is
about
it impossible?
Everyone has the potential to love.
Why is it impossible?
Because it's built
Have you
into our
actually
DNA.
checked everyone?
It's built into
Have
our
you
DNA.
done a consensus, a census of
scientific
everyone?
experiment?
Even the most evil person, even Mr. Scrooge, can be turned around and
friend,
have the potential for love.
just take the thought
Everyone's
experiment
got the
for what it
seed.
is.
Everyone's got the seed for good and evil.
Okay,
My friend,
once you have,
Everyone's got the potential.
You see,
So I think abilities.
I think what you're doing is you're changing
Ability-
the condition which I gave
ability
you.
is too simplistic.
Kim, the whole point of
I
a
think
thought
ability
experiment is
too
you accept
simplistic.
the thought experiment for what it is
Exactly.
and you don't change it.
You don't change the
So
experiment.
I'm
How
not
have I
just
changed
saying
it?
I'm not
I give you a
because we
condition
said
and you
that
change it.
somebody who lacks the ability to love, and you said no, everybody has the ability to love. I'm not talking about everybody.
Okay.
I'm talking about this conceptual person
A conceptual person
that doesn't have the
that
ability to love.
doesn't have
Could he
the ability
ever
to
love? Could he ever manifest
You know,
love?
think that can exist.
let's use a sight example.
that
If
can't
someone
exist.
if someone doesn't have the attribute of sight, can
Yeah.
they see?
if someone doesn't have, if someone has
Born
lost their
without
eyes,
eyes. Yeah. Born without eyes.
Yeah, they won't give. Yeah, okay, fair enough. They
So
won't.
you
give-
need attribute in order to perform
Yeah.
the action. I don't know why he's fighting against
I don't know
himself.
why you already conceded it. Okay, look, Kim. You know my advice
Are
to
you
you.
going to think about that as well?
My advice to you, please just understand this. My advice to you, sincere advice, yeah?
Yeah.
The Quran encourages reflection, pondering.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to go and watch this video and follow the thought process and reflect and ponder upon what we said here with you. Because you, throughout this conversation, have accepted many things. You've accepted that the reliance relationship between contingent things and necessary things is one way. You've accepted that one has power over the other. You've accepted that, that your attributes could be there without them manifesting. You've accepted many
Have you
things,
discussed the
and then in the
existence of
same breath contradicted them afterwards. So,
Did it get anywhere?
the best thing to do is to go reflect upon the footage. It'll be on Dawah-wise, inshallah. You could reflect upon it, watch it, digest it, come back, and we'll further the discussion, inshallah.
What about your, I don't know,
Yes, you had
Sabu said you already discussed about the
Yeah.
possible existence of God.
Yeah.
What was the end result of that?
So the end result there, basically what we were getting into
That's why I
was you
told
were
him go
saying
reflect.
that God is a first cause. He's existing independent of contingent causes, so he's superior. He's a higher cause, if you will.
No, I'm just talking about the existence
All other
now.
causes.
Not about his action. So do you believe that
yeah.
God exists or he doesn't exist?
Yeah, I believe that God exists.
Okay, how
but,
do you-
but in a different plane than us.
Okay,
Yes,
so-
he
so
was
what is
likening
your-
God to the creation,
Yeah.
so we had to separate God from creation.
Okay, so what
that
is-
was the whole discussion.
What is your, where does your understanding of God come from?
So my understanding from God comes from that God is it's a two-way street instead of it being a one-way street. God needs the world to manifest His powers. He needs to exist through
And
the
no,
world
where
what
does it
did
come
we
from?
include?
to show His power, to become powerful.
Where does this come from? That's the question.
He can still exist outside of the world, right?
Kim,
But
I'm
he's
not
but he's
asking
very
about all
powerful.
those details. I'm asking, where does that knowledge come from?
Where does it come from? Well, that's a good question. I suppose it's a combination of animism and Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where does that come from?
And where does that come from? Folk traditions, folklore, ancestors,
But
history.
The whole point of the last hour-long
so
discussion.
all those still require some source.
Yeah.
Can you name a source?
Yeah, sure, that will probably be a creative force. Sure.
No. Look, when you talk about
A God, a creative force. If you go back all the steps, if you go back like regressively, you'll get back to that first course.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that first course is just as reliant on everything else that came after it as all the other things are reliant on it.
Is that monism you believe in?
Monism,
He just
no,
kept
I
on
don't think so.
repeating
No?
that it's two sides of the same coin. That basically he's equating God to creation. So the point is that
Or is it pantheism or panentheism? Which one is it?
Panentheism. Yeah, it's getting closer to that, I think.
Panentheism?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
potentially.
So that's why I think that's why your understanding of everything is within God
Yeah.
rather than everything is God. Have I got it right?
Well, aren't those two basically the same thing?
No, they are not. Because one
Are
is
they
pantheism, which means everything is God,
Yeah.
and panentheism is everything is within God.
Everything is within God.
So God encompasses.
So God encompasses everything.
Yeah.
I think I go for the first. Probably
Everything
the
is God?
first there.
So you're pantheism.
That God is suffusing everything, right? And God is as reliant on the things that He has created as they are on Him.
And what we've demonstrated for the last hour to you
Yeah.
is that not only is the reliance relationship one way, we've also shown you that God does not need, does not rely on creation for His attributes. God exists completely independent of those things. And this is why I told you, because you've now accepted that and then you contradicted that many times throughout this conversation, go and watch the footage, reflect upon it, ponder upon it, digest it, come back.
I'm not
There's no point. We've already, like everything that you just said, we've already went through it for the last hour.
Yeah.
What about?
I'm not sure I've contradicted that point. I'm not sure.
You'll see yourself
I think
on camera doing it.
The best argument that you have made against that is that God has ability and it doesn't need to be manifest because we can have abilities and attributes without manifesting.
And that goes
That's the
against,
best.
alhamdulillah, and that goes against your whole two-way reliance thing. That's the point. It's all connected.
What about the
But
existence?
I'm not sure if it does, because wouldn't you say that the reliance inside, for example, needs to be
No, that's not what I meant.
exercised
That's not what I meant.
to be there?
Because your whole thing was God is reliant on creation for Himself to be powerful.
Yeah.
And we demonstrated that no, you could have an attribute, you could have the attribute of power, and without manifesting it, and it would still be there. Therefore, God does not rely on the creation. Therefore, the reliance relationship is only one way. Now let's pause here because nothing you're gonna say more is gonna give you more clarity. You should just go and digest that.
Couldn't you say that someone who is going to lift weights, he
Yes.
can't prove his strength if he doesn't have the weights or if he doesn't have anything to lift?
Proving proof and actually possessing the attribute of strength, completely two different things.
But
One is
he's-
ontology, one is demonstrating proof, epistemology to somebody else.
One is action, one
But
is
if he's not using that attribute, he doesn't have a
Listen,
chance to show it.
See what I mean? You're going back into it. Let's stop here.
You
said a point.
How can you say it's
Let's
there?
Let's stop here because we've adjusted this for the last hour. So I want you to. Wallahi, this is for you. I want you to go and digest this. Okay, everything you've said. So you made one side point about what's it called? There being evil in the world, and babies dying at 2 years old.
Yeah, sure.
In the Islamic conception, a baby who dies in this world gets an eternal afterlife of bliss.
Oh.
So it doesn't matter whether you believe that; it's irrelevant.
No, but before
listen.
we go that, do you actually believe in the existence of good and evil?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So is that something does God play any role in that?
Does he play any role in that? I think God has certainly created these two forces because you can't talk about anything that's good if you don't have evil.
Oh, so you think God created
You
evil?
have to have the shadow.
Kim, do you actually believe God created evil?
Yeah, I think so.
You see, Muslims don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
Where did it come
we
from
believe,
then?
No, we believe that when God created them, they were not evil, but then with their free will, they chose evil. So we believe in devil, the Satan, Iblis, what do you want to call it, yes? But we don't believe that he was innately, from intrinsically evil. He had the ability to choose between good and evil.
We don't have a Christian conception of the
If God
fall.
is omnipotent and omniscient, wouldn't he have predicted that would happen?
No,
He
he
had
knows.
known
He
exactly
knows.
that
Yeah,
would
he knows.
happen.
He knows it.
Yeah.
So he created.
But you can't have your
But
cake
he
and eat
gives
it
them,
too. Let me
he
tell you
gives
why.
them the free
God-
will.
but he
And
knew
then
it
he
would
gives
fail.
then he shows them that these are the consequences if you disobey, and this is the reward if you obey. Then that's the reason I told you earlier that he doesn't interfere in your daily life.
Yeah.
He lets you get on with your free will.
Yeah.
Because like I said, this life is a test. And it's a test for you, it's a test also for the Satan, it's a test for everyone. For all of us, it's a test. What we do in this temporary life will determine what will happen to us in the eternal life, in the hereafter.
Because Kim, listen.
But I'm surprised you said that God created evil. So you have no one to blame than your God.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, you were saying that God is a first cause for everything. So isn't he a first cause of evil as well?
I'm saying he created them, but
Why,
I didn't say he
that
created
doesn't
them
make
evil.
sense.
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you
Kim,
why.
there's a difference.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Kim,
You're saying he
Kim, you're
created
not
them
making-
evil.
you're not
I didn't say he
making-
created
you're
them
not
evil.
making
You're the one
point.
saying.
You're not making the point that you
He's
think
not
you're making.
listening
Kim,
Hang
you're not
So
making
wait
the
a
point
minute.
that
So
you
wait.
think you're making.
So hang
So
on.
just listen
So
instead of
evil. Wait a
doing the
minute.
theatrics.
Evil is a cause unto itself. Evil came out of nowhere, or
No.
it came from us.
Let me-
I just explained to you.
And God created us.
You know what the difference between
So
you
doesn't
and
it-
us is?
Doesn't it come from God?
I'll tell you what. Kim, the difference between you and what I said is that you believe they are intrinsically evil. I'm saying they became evil later by the free choice.
I see.
God gives us free will.
You see,
and
in your
it's not
case,
a
you're
point that
blaming
you make.
God for the evil. In our case, we're not blaming God. You are.
Ah, okay.
So which one is a better God? The one who creates evil or the one who doesn't create
Well,
evil?
I think it's
Or the one who
ridiculous
gives
to-
them the freedom to choose between good and
the
evil?
Islamic
I think
conception.
it's ridiculous to blame God in the first place.
But you
For
are
either-
blaming God.
Either for either
You
good
are
or
blaming
evil.
God.
You did that.
Well, I would say that God has created them
So
because
you're blaming
He's
God then?
created everything. So He must have known that evil would be a
No,
potentiality.
known, and
Because
then the
there
evil
could-
himself is
Wait,
completely
wait,
different.
wait,
No.
hang
You
on,
keep
hang on.
conflating the
No,
no
no.
and the ontology.
Wait,
Let me, no,
wait,
one second.
wait.
No, Kim, you
I'm-
stop for a second. Kim, please, just 1 second. Kim, please.
Okay.
Kim, please.
Go for it.
The fact of the matter is what? We're telling you that God in the Islamic conception has given us free will. However, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It can't be the case that every time somebody tries to exercise their free will, God interjects. There's no free will then. See what I'm saying? So in the Islamic conception, God created this life as a test. And in this test, God gave us, He's like, you have this free will, and God, out of His mercy, gave us the best thing that we can aspire for, the most blissful thing we can aspire for, the best reward we can ever attain, paradise, if we pass this test. And He also gave us the biggest thing to fear, eternal hellfire. It's very simple. It's a very nice and concise, and
He gave that. Eternal hellfire. He created that. And He created evil.
No, He didn't create you. That's what I'm saying. Your whole conception. No. Wait, punishing. Why?
Something wrong here?
Yeah, because your conception is God created evil things. We're saying
must have.
things.
He
No.
must have created the potential for evil and the potential for
No.
good.
God
Otherwise, there's no test.
God allows evil and knows about. Because you said that your whole argument is.
Wait. You said God was the first cause. Everything came to God.
No.
God
Listen.
started everything. God knew this was going to happen. He has to
exactly.
He
The
has.
whole point is this knowledge.
He has to
God
create evil
knowing,
to differentiate
No.
between good. There
God-
has to be a differentiation.
God knowing-
Otherwise, it's meaningless. If everything is just good and bliss, there's no distinction
listen
and there's
for a
no
second.
test,
I
as you
understand
said.
that. Yes, exactly.
So he
no,
must have
but
created it.
no, he did. No.
Must have created it.
No. Let me
I just
explain
explained
that.
that to you.
No.
I said he
created the
created
free
them,
will. He created the free
but
will
then-
agents.
There you go.
No,
Said he created them.
he created them, but they
Yeah.
were not created evil, like the way you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, did not create
Yeah,
evil.
exactly.
But he created
Like
the
our
test.
predisposition.
So,
is
for
not
example,
evil.
look, if you create, let's say you manufacture a knife. Yes? Did you create the knife for the purpose of murder?
Well, I mean, it can certainly be used for that. So you
No,
must
but
predict
that wasn't
could-
your objective, was it?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Did you know that it could be used for murder?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I blame you for that?
You should say there, it's definitely created the possibility.
Should I blame you for it?
Should you blame me for it? No, not necessarily.
There you go. Similarly, you cannot blame God
I'm
for
not blaming
something
God.
other people. But you,
I'm
said
I'm saying he's created
No,
it.
no, but you said-
I'm not blaming him for it.
No.
I'm saying
Tim,
he
you
has,
said
I'm
you said he
saying,
created an
no,
evil
no, wait.
intrinsically.
That's
what you said.
I'm saying he creates it because otherwise there couldn't exist good. Right?
No.
No,
He has to
that's a
create it.
theory you have. We're saying maybe that's a result that's completely fine. You're saying that without
And he must have known it
without
happened.
evil existing.
Shall I give an example of good where there's no evil?
Yeah.
It's called paradise.
Paradise, yeah, right.
There you go.
And then
All
there's no
good,
test.
no evil.
And then there's no test. Then there's
No, that
no
is
meaning.
that is
test
the
is
reward
finished.
for the test.
Yeah,
That's
test
a
is
reward.
finished.
That's
You're
a
right.
reward. Yeah,
So
sure.
there you go. There is good without evil. I give you an example.
There is good without
But
evil.
you see, the difference between you and us is that we don't believe everything is created intrinsically evil. Everything is created good intrinsically.
But I don't believe
So
that.
when I say
Everything
everything,
evil things.
so
But
when
I
I
don't
say
believe
wait,
that
when
either.
I say everything, I mean
I don't say
those
people are
people,
intrinsically evil.
those entities who have been given the choice
Yeah.
between good and bad.
Yeah.
It means those entities which have a consciousness and which have free will.
So didn't God create, say, cancer? Was God not a cause of cancer? Was God not
Yeah,
a
but
cause
cancer-
of?
cancer doesn't-
Did God not put in murderous abilities into us so we can kill other animals and kill each other?
Shall I tell you?
Did he not
Shall I
give
tell
us
you where
those
you made a mistake again?
He
Look,
gave us those
God
potentials.
is also the one who causes everything. So we say that not even a leaf moves without the permission of Allah.
And I'm not blaming him. I'm saying it's good
No,
to do
listen,
that.
let me finish. Kim.
Yeah.
So these agencies which don't have consciousness, which cannot differentiate between good and bad because they don't have a free will. So for example, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, all these things,
Sure.
these are natural calamities.
It's not evil.
Yeah. So we can't call them evil. These are natural calamities, but we cannot say that they are responsible for killing so many people. You see? Because they don't have a conscious agency like the way you and I do, like the way the jinn, the Satan does.
I'm with
That's
you.
the reason only these people will be sent to hell. Yes?
okay.
For their evil. Because they chose deliberately, knowingly, consciously. And that's the reason the consequences of that evil is the hellfire.
I think I get you there.
That's the whole point of the test.
I think I get you there. That he has to set up the field. He has to give us the capacity for both good and evil. Otherwise, there's no test. But in that sense, he has
Brilliant. That's a brilliant
created
point,
the field, and he's created the arena, and he's allowed for the possibility of it.
In finite terms, and then gave you an infinite, gave you first of all a judgment day, a place where all wrongs will be written right, and then gave you a place where people who pass the test eternally live in bliss, and people who did not eternally live in hellfire.
In a way, it's a bit sick and twisted, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay, let me ask you. In your worldview, what should be the punishment for Hitler, who is an evil?
What should be the punishment for Hitler?
Exactly.
Eternal hellfire.
But do you believe in that?
Why not?